Okay, so hi. Welcome to the Individual Development Plan event. This is Craig Ogilvie. He will be from the Grad College. He will be talking to us about how to figure out what we need to focus on and how to do it.
Sure.
I'd like to mention a few things really quick for the apparel students. We are having a potluck for, it was Halloween, but it didn't work out. So we're having a fall-autumn potluck next Friday night at Ling's. So if you'd like to attend, we'd love to have you. There's a sign-up sheet in the grad office, or you can email us with what you'd like to bring, or just, bring something with you and surprise us. It should be really fun. We've done this before. It's a lot of fun. Also, we'd like to, there is going to be another lunch at the tea room on Wednesday, November 18th. So if anyone is free at noon on that day, we'll be meeting at the tea room and having a chance to chat. I'd like to mention that if you're interested, now's a good time to start thinking about being an officer for next year, because as we all start thinking about what happens in May, as some of us hope to leave this frozen wasteland of Ames. Yes. That's just something to think about. So if anybody has any questions, please talk to one of the officers. And of course, last but not least, if you've not yet paid your dues, we would love to have them. So you can give those to Ariane as our treasurer or to Vicki in 31 McKinney. So that is all the announcements that I have for today.
I think I missed something about the dues.
Okay.
How much are they?
Dues are $15 for the year. And you obviously are welcome to attend any of our events without dues, but it is dues that pay for our wonderful snacks. And with dues comes membership into our Blackboard page, which has a lot of resources on it. We have lots of professional organizations and examples of abstracts and presentations that have been accepted/given at those conferences. We have example POS forms. We have all sorts of things on the Blackboard page that can direct people towards things they need. So that comes with your dues. Yes.
Well, thank you. So my name's Craig Ogilvie. I'm sure you've received lots of email from me in your times here. So I'm an assistant dean in Graduate College. I'm also a physics professor, so just across the way. So very pleased to be here. So this is not a presentation. So I'm going to immediately form you into groups. I had a quick look, and I think we potentially have a few interesting matchups. We've got 13 people counting the distance, so that we form 4 groups. One group can be 4, since you seem to be already clustered. Is that a potential group of 4 there? I have a group here, including the online. I don't know the online person.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
okay. Right, so perhaps a group of 3 here. I don't know if it's possible to have you move. If you could, move at the back, and then we get a natural group of 3 here. Right? So do you want to move now? It'd be good if you could take your stuff and food, and while you're doing that, so yeah, you can just turn around there, and then that group of 3, right? It always takes a long time, I think, to form groups, right? The physics class that I do is one of the hardest things to do each day. So this is the outline of what we're going to try to do, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Right. Sarah would have sent out to you the pre-material. So our learning goals, pretty much the first 2 is the pre-material work that you did. Right. So that's not an IDP by itself. IDP is Individual Development Plan. It's a sort of an IDP light, a small version of an IDP.
I'm moving you to get recorded.
You get recorded? So I hope you've all got those semi-filled out, partially filled out, because you'll be working with them. So the goals are to basically, what you did before this session today is to do that thinking about where your skills are, what your career goals are, etc. What we're going to focus on today is goals number 3 and 4, right? So if we achieve through an hour today, 3 or 4, sort of a description of what characterizes a strong IDP and how to have conversations with your mentors about IDP, right? Through concentrating on 3 or 4, there'll be a good opportunity if you haven't quite finished this IDP Lite. It's okay, somebody in your group would have, right? Questions about the goals? Okay, good. So what I'd like you to do is take a few minutes, discuss in your groups what you filled out in this, still this? So what you filled out in this quadrant, right, which has got the 4 sections: the skills assessment, your career aspirations, desired skills, and professional development, right? And with a particular emphasis about what was challenging in this grid. So after you've had that discussion, we'll come back as a group and you'll be asked to report out to the group about what was challenging. Okay? Go for it.
Hello.
Hello. You have to let us see you. There we go.
I'll sit up a little bit. All right, I didn't know this helps.
All right, we'll take a second.
I'm behind you.
What do you got?
Oh my God, I can tell you. I think at least for desired skills. I do that sometimes, but sometimes I'm just too introverted and tired.
Having fun.
You think is that a skill?
I don't know what it is.
That's true. All right.
Bad as my students, they came on
You know, it's funny. I filled this out, but I didn't actually, and I read what they suggest on the notes, because I've been applying, looking at job applications, and really feeling the lack of certain skills.
Like what, Sarah? You have many skills. What would you feel a lot about?
CAD, like Photoshop and Illustrator. Those are like big ones I don't know how to do. Then there are other things that I don't know how to do that I don't want to know how to do, like pattern making, which I hate.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sort of torn between, I know that would make me more marketable. I knew this years ago, but I don't like it and I don't want to do it. I feel like I may have cheated myself when I took my statistics classes. I don't know. I tried really. I feel like a stronger knowledge of statistics, quantitative analysis would be better. I wish I had more of a basis for it, even though I forget it as soon as I learn it.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, I struggled to pass. What's that, 410 or whatever that one is? I really struggled, and I put in so much time. But now I feel like I've done it.
All of it.
Yeah.
And I'm sad about that. Because
You don't use it. Yeah, true. You're right. It's just like the language.
yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with my teaching. Although I always, I wish that I was more, less brusque. I always get comments about that. But I'm not really sure how to change that because it's just sort of who I am.
I was going to say that that's kind of your personality, not brusque, but you know what? Like, you kind of tell it out how it is.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm sure that's what's coming across to students, and sometimes you really can't change that.
Well, I always, it's a tough
And
thing
if
for me.
you're not sincere,
Where's that?
so then they pull that up, and then they'll tell you that you're not sincere.
It's not like you're like pointing and laughing at them. I mean, they're not,
Right.
that's not an accurate assessment.
I do, I mean, I've said this before, I know that data analysis, that's evaluation, you know, they put their like qualitative, their comments, and at the top, like literally back to back, one was, she has so much passion, I love her, she's like my favorite teacher, and directly underneath was, she is a bitch. So I wish that people didn't think I was a bitch.
And sometimes it's just, I don't feel like it's those evaluations. You kind of just have to analyze yourself, because I think that when you're teaching to undergrads, they're not mature enough to really assess a professor. If they haven't taken the ownership to like do the work, or you know, then they make these snide remarks that you really like, God, come on.
Yeah, I think the snide remarks are actually something I need to work on. I need like less of these. No, I'm serious. So that's a skill I have not yet mastered. How to not be sarcastic. How to not say everything. What about you? What do you think you need to develop?
I need to become a better writer. I'm really not a strong writer. Like, that's something I really need to work on. And I also want to have more tech knowledge as far as bringing it into the classroom and using that more. And I think that that's something that I'm really good at, but I just don't have the time. Like, I have a skill, I want to do that, but I just can't fit it in. You know, I see like some professors use, like they've used Instagram, and they've done like a hashtag, and then they've been able to pull up, like students have looked for stuff, and then they pull up like relevant pictures and stuff, like in the beginning of class. And I'm like, oh, like something like that would be a really good like start to the class.
Right.
But I just haven't done it, like done my homework as far as how would I do that. You know what I mean?
Just something that is all
That's a good one.
So those are, I mean, I have numerous things to work on. But those are two things I really want to work on.
I'm worried that I'm worried that like my ship has sailed.
Why would you say that?
Like I've learned what I've learned in these 4 years, and now I'm like stuck with what I know.
Okay, your ship has not sailed.
Yeah. I think that just means you have senioritis. Get out of here.
Yeah. What's the equivalent of senioritis for graduate students? Okay, why don't you take another minute, then we'll bring it together as a group.
And you know that.
I don't know. Who has time once you are in school?
Well, that's the problem. When you're like, well, I mean, I know because I'm trying to do it right now, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I have to do it.
So I'm looking at this list. I feel like I'm pretty good at developing new research directions, because my entire research agenda was fully on whole farm. What's yours? You feel pretty good about your research agenda?
No,
Okay. So you need to work on that?
I need to work on that. Definitely need to work on that. I have to write that down.
I feel like experimental design, and I
Okay, so
I
again,
would get someone to
I'm going to bring everybody to some sort of discussion of this. So we have an hour. An IDP is something that really should take an extended period of time, reflection, revision. And so my goal is not to have you completed an IDP by the end of tonight, but at least to have some idea of the scope. So what were some of the challenges that you had either when you were filling this out before you came into the session? What were some of the challenges either now or when you filled out? What was challenging?
think identifying their career aspirations, where I actually want to be when I get out of here.
Yeah, the career aspirations. I hesitated because the online IDP works a little bit the other way. It sort of says, what are your skills and interests? And then it suggests some careers that match with that, right? But this was a pen and paper form, so I didn't have that ability to do dynamic. The online forms have that dynamic suggestion.
What I found really interesting is that, you know, we sat here staring at this blank page and going, okay, our skills assessment, what skills do I currently have? And you'll sit there and go, but then when you look at the second page, you've got a really nice outline of different skills, and it's like, well, yeah, I got that, I got that, I got that, I got that. But when you're sitting here looking at this blank page, going,
Yeah, and the nice thing about that outline is it's broken into the competency areas, right? Which are some of the things that I think the Postdoc Association was the first people that really started defining what the competency areas were. Right? So those are some of them. It's a good structure. And you know, I talked to the career officer in the graduate college, and she keeps on reminding me that the graduate students, one of your instincts is to talk about your very specific area of knowledge rather than broad skills, right? And so how to take those specific expertise and generalize it to a broader skills is a skill, right? So you know that's something to practice, something that you can work on. But yes, you have broad skills. What else was difficult?
Well, I've been looking at job listings, so I actually have a pretty good handle of all the skills I don't have because they keep asking for skills that I don't have. So actually that was sort of overwhelming. I have this huge list of skills but then the trick is not all of them are desired.
Right.
Like a bunch of them are stuff I don't want to know. It's not my field, I'm not interested. So it's a tricky.
Right. And again, I'm going to refer back to Karen Lawton-Dunn. If you haven't had a session with her, I encourage you to invite her to one of your sessions. A lot of these job advertisements, the skills, the ones that are listed first, are the ones that are likely to be in the filter, right? There is a filtering system. So, you know, things that's listed as 8 or 9 or 10 down the list may not be as critical to the people they want to take a more serious look at. It's a long list. Don't stress out. Don't stress out. As long as there's some overlap that you can see yourself doing those skills in the first 2 or 3.
That's awesome. I find it's interesting because they'll say we want someone who can teach 2 of the following 8 things, and they're like this random assortment of things. No, it's an odd process.
Sounds like people formed the job ad by committee.
Yeah, I was looking at the desired skills, and it got me thinking about whether this skill that I can develop short term is something that I do,
Yep. And there's a flexibility, right? I mean, an IDP is a pretty private thing, right? You can use it as a planning tool, right? It's just to say, look, this is what I currently can do, and the benefit is reflecting on those things. And then this is what I think I need to add to my skill set. And then it develops a plan. Now that plan can be in the next 2 months, I'm going to try to do this, or it can be a longer range, right? And like I said, this is my next 2 or 3 years. I want to gain more experience in something. So the time frame for that skill development is completely private and up to you. Other things that were challenging. Okay, so we're going to move on. I have a rubric that I'm still sort of developing. I have some colleagues at other universities, and we're sort of iterating this in a shared document. So this is its current version. And what you'll see in this rubric is, let's hope I didn't give my last copy. I might have to rescue one rubric. Rescue one. Okay. Will you get one?
I'm texting it to you.
Good. Okay, so what you'll see is that there are, I'm sorry I didn't anticipate electronic.
I mean,
Okay, good. What you'll see is every row corresponds to one of those boxes, right? And then it's sort of you know, like a rubric. It talks about the different characteristics. So the skills assessment we've discussed a little bit, the wide range of competencies, the career aspirations. That's an interesting one, but the rubric is basically saying there's some sort of coherent story between the career aspirations, the current skills, the desired skills, right? So that's sort of the internal that tells a consistent story there. Desired skills, the key is the SMART guidelines. The word SMART, I always go back to my cheat sheet, is specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound, right? So that's the SMART goals that if you're going to put down a skill that you want to get stronger in, it has to be something which is pretty well defined, has to be somehow measurable, right? I'm a quantitative scientist, but you know, somewhat measurable, right? Action-oriented is something that you have to do to develop those skills. Realistic, you know, I'm not going to become the president of the United States. So, you know, shouldn't try to develop skills that are unrealistic. Time-bound, and this is the discussion about time-bound. Sort of debate last night. Okay. We're going to come to the final two rows. Right? So we have 4 groups, and what I have is I have 4 fake outlines. So for hereafter, you are group 1,
Okay.
group 2, group 3, and group 4. Right? Okay. Probably send these electronically instead of. Okay, so what I want you to do, right, is definitely your main job is to analyze these fake IDPs, right, which are creatures of my imagination. They're not being constructed from some student. Thinking about the rubric a little bit to see if there's, you know, how they do with respect to that quality IDP. Group 1, I would like you to look at rubric IDP 1, but I'd also, if you've got some time, go on to 2. Okay? 2, I would like you to start on IDP number 2, and if you've got time, go on to number 3. Okay?
Yeah.
You got the pattern? 3, that's your fake IDP, and if you've got time, go to 4. 4, your main task is IDP number 4, and if you've got time, go to number 1. Okay, any questions?
Yep, I bet.
Perfect.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Good, go.
Okay. So we're starting with number 4.
Oh, I should just say,
The fourth one you sent me, or no? It's
You
not.
will-
Actually, the second one.
you will have to report out to the group at the end about what were some good things about the IDPs and where they need to be improved.
Up at the top, it says IDP outline number for
Okay,
each one. Do you see it?
yeah. So it's the first one you sent me, okay.
Well, it's
So we're
in,
doing number 4, right?
correct.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so the skills that I currently have, ability to design, conduct research, that is very good. Ability to create new ideas. Quantitative skills, good. Perseverance, and ability to focus on a task. Actually, really, skill has the ability to focus.
I think that's good, but
Yeah,
what about the create new ideas? Do you think they really can do that?
that's why I thought that was a little arrogant, but you know.
Gotta be confident in that which one.
I have to say that they're very self-confident.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, look at career pathways, so you gotta have confidence.
So, career pathway is found the biotech startup. Okay. So what skills do they need? They need to be able to develop a business plan, marketing expertise. Yes, those are two things.
They're gonna need to manage people.
Yeah, that's a skill we'll need.
Yeah,
Manage
so-
money.
So if there are gaps, point it out.
Unless they have the money. Maybe it's not the money.
And then after they sell their first biotech startup, are they gonna be a biotech startup machine, or are they gonna stay with that?
Oh, I guess it is our skill experience.
All right, so we are assessing, does their skill assessment cover a wide range of skills? Their skill assessment.
No, that's just what he wants.
It's not bad.
Things he needs.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's not like, how do you measure being productive?
So.
But, I mean, you're not,
How it is.
I mean, if they're 22, they probably think that they are creating ideas. Or maybe they're Facebook and maybe it's part-time for it. They actually, it's stealing a bunch of ideas and making it. So, and it's not a bad list of skills. It's,
Yeah.
So you're right. Management, like,
Yeah, leadership.
leadership. I was trying to figure out the word for that, but yeah. Yeah. And it's gonna have to inspire money people.
It's gonna have to inspire money, it's gonna have to inspire people to work long hours.
So here, you say skills assessment covers a wide range of skills. Here it says skills assessment covers an adequate range of research skills. Okay, so cut out the research.
Yeah, that's it, it's underdeveloped.
So do we think it's a wide range of skills, an adequate range of skills, or no range at all?
And so one guideline maybe doesn't cover the different competency areas.
So does it cover at least one thing from each of these categories? Do you see the categories? It's one in the document that had this. On the next page, there's something that looks like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So does he talks about research. He does not talk about professional skills at all. He does talk about time management and focus. He does not talk about personal skills
Interpersonal skills, no, just not.
or management relationships.
Why are you presuming it's a he? Sorry.
Craig just said, why are we assuming it's a he? And that is a valid question.
Sorry, that was not the same.
That is a,
Considering my daughter's teacher.
yet here we are.
Yeah, here I continue to say that.
So, so he has 2 of the 5 categories. So is that adequate or is it narrow?
Cut it down. 2 out of 5 really isn't that. He doesn't have any,
If he doesn't get those skills, he needs to have a partner who actually has.
yeah, someone that did have.
Or somewhere in the development, right?
But for that, he would need to have leadership and inspire a partner.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, nobody would want to join. All right, so the next thing, so that's skills assessment. That's one.
Realistic.
Yeah, then career aspirations. Are they well matched to his interests, skills, and skill development?
What time frame are you talking
Um,
I would think the quantitative and design is conduct research. Could go with that, but we don't know if he has any biotech skills or engineering skills for that matter.
I mean, what kind of research? Maybe he does content analysis. Part of it.
Yeah.
But
He has no real business skills.
I mean, it's no business skills. So I would say partially matched.
And no engineering skills.
Well, we don't know. Maybe. Because we don't know what kind of research. Well, I think, so do we think that options or career aspirations are partially matched? I think they're partially matched.
I think partially as far as like he says he creates new ideas, he has a quantitative. I just don't know where those ideas are. We were just thinking it was in the biotech. But that's, you know, we really should make an assumption.
I feel confident enough to say that they're partially matched, as opposed to not closely matched.
Yeah.
Okay.
So his desired skills, do they meet the SMART guidelines?
None of them really have any time frame.
They're all action oriented.
Are they specific? Are they focused and unambiguous? The first is pretty specific, the second is pretty
Expertise is pretty
ambiguous, yeah. Is it measurable? Could someone identify whether or not you achieved this goal? I would say yes to both.
Well, the first one, no, I didn't do marketing expertise. Yeah, yes,
Alright.
it's just too general.
You're right. It's not action oriented. It's not, this is something.
I want to become a marketing guru.
Right.
Right.
But that would be career aspirations. So do we think,
It's not time bound, really.
no, but I mean, no. But
I mean, they're not bad. You know, they would be useful to have.
Yeah.
so the goals, do we want goals do not meet all SMART characteristics or goals do not meet any?
Yeah. Well, you know, you.
They really don't need them.
They're realistic.
I think they're realistic. I think they're measurable. You can look at Andre and say he has marketing
So then you
expertise,
start doing that little covert,
but they're not active. The second one isn't action oriented.
Yeah.
So do we think average or poor?
I would say 4.
Splitting the difference. All right, professional development opportunities. The plan, we plan to read, I didn't do this, he plans to read a book and take a marketing course.
Yeah.
She might want to take a business.
Well,
She might want to take entrepreneurship with Dr.
I don't think one marketing course is gonna give you expertise. So the,
No, and plus, what if he takes like intro to marketing? That's going to give you nothing.
so the planned professional development opportunities assist the student with each goal and they match well with the career goals. Well, they match well with the career goals. But they, then the other one is the planned professional development opportunities are insufficient to assist with the SMART goals. Or they don't match the SMART goals or the career goals.
They do match the desired
They do
skills.
match.
They're just insufficient.
Very tentative.
Yeah.
Very surface
Very
level.
101.
I mean, I suppose,
It's a start. Would be a start.
see, I was thinking that he was not, I mean, I guess he's still a student, he can still add something to his POS. But if he's adding things to his POS, then maybe you should take a business course and not just read a book.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you should take Dr. Neal's class. Okay, we'll get a degree.
I mean, eventually we'll get free.
It's not measurable.
So our scoring totals are,
I didn't do too well on this, I have to say.
we got a 4.
There's a reason we're not creative.
Yes. So we got a 6.
Okay, I'm gonna call you up at 6:10, which is 2 minutes time, to see if you can at least finish your main student.
Now let's look at,
Yeah,
let's look at it. What seems to be Oh, I can do that.
really just, what do they want to do?
Yeah.
Public policy.
She don't self-judge them for their career aspirations.
Writing or communication?
I think I can do all of those, although my connections can sometimes be surface.
Say they have to be.
They're going into a think tank. I don't know what a Toastmaster is.
It's a club where you give speeches, you learn how to give.
Learn how to be a public speaker. I'm sorry, you just said.
I recommend this to lots of graduate students as a chapter.
You just like show up and you're like, to my father.
They're doing policy speeches or plan speeches.
I've never been to one, but it's supposed to have something that
Huge,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
huge success story.
Really? Interesting.
He's like, well, you should do it. And I'm looking at it and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I actually looked into it.
Yeah.
It was like Saturday morning at 7 a.m.
They pick a worse time for that.
Who wants to do a
I would think like Toastmasters would be in the evening.
With
Yeah.
wine.
Have wine.
Yes, that would make it a lot easier.
All right, so do we,
So I think his skills are matching.
is there one from every category? We have research skills?
All right, so let's pull this together. All right, so which group wants to present their main person? Who wants to go first?
Number one.
We'll go number one. So talk to us about person number one. Everybody pay attention for the number one.
Yes, we like the first few skills, the ability to summarize complex information.
What does number one want to do?
Work at a public policy or policy think tank.
Okay.
So the first couple of skills seem broad, like generalizable. We thought that was good, but then we thought maybe that they should list some more skills that specifically relate to the career aspirations.
Okay.
And then in terms of the desired skill, following the SMART goals kind of outline felt like the skills weren't really time bound or measurable.
Yep.
And then we liked the professional development. It seemed to match with the desired skills at least.
I agree. Okay. So that was, in the end, one of the things I want to get out of this is to have you at least look at one of these such that when you get to make your own, you're thinking through about, what level of detail might be most useful. Right? So I agree, the desired skills here were almost by construction, not obeying the SMART. Right? Now you just started looking at number one. So do you have anything to add to the number one assessment?
I think we thought that we didn't get very far, but I think we thought that the skills assessment were all good for what she wanted. I'm very gendered over here. For what this person wanted to do, but yeah, they were vague. So I think we agree with you.
All right, good, thank you. Shall we do group number two? All right, number two. What is number two going to do?
Well, would his career aspiration?
Or it could be a she.
He or she, this person, aspires to be a data and analysis for a large financial institution like Wall Street.
Okay.
And I don't think that we thought his skill set was a great match.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the quantitative skills and teaching, those are transferable. He has some transferable skills, but at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
background.
Good.
Also for the data visualization, that was something that's not measurable.
Yep. Yep.
And it did not include computer skills, which I thought was needed for data analysis.
Yep. I agree.
And I don't really understand what the professional development really has to do with his career aspiration.
Right. Which I kind of deliberately did. Right. So if you were advising this young person, right, or they were a good friend, what would you say?
I would say that she should reevaluate what his career aspirations are, because what he is going into for skill set and professional development seems to be going into more of a community-based or maybe possible nonprofit.
Right. Good. So exactly what I sort of thought when I was constructing this. So it's a subtle issue, but you know, there's never only one career option, right? And one of the things I do when I work with graduate students, I sort of ask, well, you know, if you do have free time, and just imagine you have free time, right? So if you do have free time, or if you do have, you know, a choice about what professional development thing, you know, that you're drawn to, you know, in this case, this person has some free time and they volunteer with local communities. So that's a choice that they make, and it's out of sync with their nominal career aspiration. So it might be that somehow that this career aspiration was the original plan, but they've changed, they've had more experiences. It's hard to tell on one sheet, right? But that's the sort of thing, is that somehow your IDP, as it develops, has to be somehow true to who you are, right? That the professional development plans, the career aspirations, the combination of current skills and desired skills has to be a coherent, this is where I want to go. That's not going to happen in an hour, right? That's a long thing. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, anybody else have time to look at number 2? You want to add? Pretty much the same thing?
Yeah.
All right.
He did more in the desired skills to get where he wanted to go.
Yep. Okay. All right. Number 3. What does number 3 want to do?
This person wants to be your product development manager and meet with the clients on a daily basis. So we thought that some of the skills that he might add to his list is management and leadership skills. Obviously, because he's gonna lead a team of technicians and develop the new product. At the same time, he's gonna go out there and meet with clients and help them implement the stuff. And so that is the core skill that that is missing from the number 1 skills assessment. And based on that, we also added that he needs to have some interpersonal skills and setting the goal and then go with the team and make sure that everything is And then as for our professional development, attending the professional society meeting, I think that's going to be a great event to network with others in the industry. That's great.
But it was perhaps missing on the development of new skills that would be needed. So, it's a subtle issue. I mean, you've all locked on to, which is a good thing, that you should have that skills assessment, the current skills, be, what's needed either for the career aspiration or in the covering the whole competency range. But I'm getting a little bit nervous that I think it's the sum of box 1 and 3 need to be what the career aspirations have and the competency area. It doesn't, we're not expecting everybody to have all the skills for a particular career while you're a graduate student. So 1 and 3, the union of those two sets needs to be covering those competency areas. Okay, did anybody else have a chance to look at number 3? Did this group have something to add to the assessment of number 3? Okay, okay, person number 4.
Well, for skills assessment, this person has no professional skills, no interpersonal skills, and no management and leadership skills listed. So that might be a problem since this person wants to found a biotech company, startup company. And as far as desired skills, there's 2 listed there. They're not terribly smart. Developing a business plan seems, doable, but there's no time limits or time frames. Marketing expertise is kind of vague. And also, this person probably should, work on the professional, interpersonal, and leadership skills that he or she doesn't have. As far as the professional development, these are a start, maybe.
Oh, boy.
And if they're still in school, they can maybe take a business course instead of reading a business plan book.
Right? It was deliberately wimpy, right? I mean, if you're thinking of entrepreneurship, there are just so many opportunities to participate in pitch competitions, network at our startup events. Iowa State is like many universities. We have there's always some sort of competition where people who've got an idea, a business idea, have to pitch it to inside a competition, and the winners go on and they get some funds. I mean, yes, it's nice to get the funds, I would guess, but my talking to people who organize that, the real value is to get a group of people to really start to refine what their business plan is. Right? So that's the benefit. There's also, for example, we have a group in the business college that runs a consulting service for local companies or nonprofits. And so a nonprofit that says, look, we want to have, this is our problem. Is there a group of students that you get together and spend the next 3 months researching this on our behalf and come back to us, right? So that sort of would be a great experience for this person. Right?
It felt very undergrad to me.
Yeah, and almost deliberately.
It's
so.
like what a 21-year-old thinks you need to do to own a business.
Deliberately. Right? So if you were having this conversation with this person, you'd say, look, this is great, your aspiration. Let's work on the bottom half of this grid. Right? Okay, so the goal of that session was really, as you're working through your IDP, now you've had a little bit of sense of some of the easy traps, right? I just wanted to make each trap as somewhat obvious. I'm sensitive to the time, so I do want to get to the final sort of outcome, which was discussions with people, right? So if you go back to your groups or stay in your groups, right? And I want you to talk about discussing this, right, with your mentors, right? So as a deliverable, perhaps your group should fill in the good boxes. So what does good mean for multi-point mentoring and effective discussions between your mentors and trainee? You're the trainee, the graduate student or postdoc. Does people know what multi-point mentoring is? Is that a term that we've encountered? So you all have an advisor. What I and others in the graduate college are pushing is that you should be working with more than just one person to give complementary perspective and advice. So your advisor is very skilled, knows some things about some area, well, things about some areas, hopefully, right? But, as a person, especially as you develop your IDP, it's good to have other people to talk about different aspects of your IDP. Okay, so spend a few minutes, fill in the good characteristic of the rubric for multi-point mentoring and effective discussions. And if it comes up, you can also identify your own barriers.
So what are we doing now? I think I missed something.
You got his attention.
Okay, so there's 2 boxes.
I think we're identifying that
Oh,
We have
oh, and that's of course the one I took a picture of and sent to you.
So are we looking at the rubric now?
Yeah, rubric, there are 2 empty boxes.
Okay, let me pull up the rubric.
I'm sending you a new copy
Oh, okay.
because I had the wrong version apparently.
You have my draft. As I said, this is
Oh, that's why I just did something.
building the plane and flying at the same time.
that and then totally
I would say it's very nice to talk to you guys today.
Oh, good.
Just these 2.
So I'm glad that I was able to.
This is
You too.
How's your, just in case you're
So what are good?
Let's do this first and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Develop a plan.
All right, so I did.
What would be quick practice?
Oh, that's basically the same. Okay, so what is a good outcome in terms of multi-point mentoring?
Just a good thing.
So multi-point mentoring. So the sentence would start with mentoring. Okay, let's look at the other ones. Assist the students, well matched, covers a wide range of skills. So good mentoring.
Good mentoring helps make you into the position that you want to be in.
So the mentoring.
It fills you in on what you don't know you need to know.
Right, right. So if you had a multi-point mentor, they would be able to.
Now, it's not multi-point mentor, it's many mentors. Yeah, so in theory, you should have multiple mentors who give you complimentary. Not you're so pretty, which you are. But,
Yeah, you're not looking at me to say, obviously.
so, the mentors offer what?
Right.
Offer,
The mentor is gonna be able to offer you advice.
Based on their own expertise.
Right.
what, so what do you look for from a mentor?
You get to know them, and so then they'll give you.
But
Someone
that
that
can't be it.
inspires
Like, what do
me.
you want from that?
I want someone that inspires me.
So you want inspiration.
They
I want actionable suggestions from a mentor. I want
Yeah,
them to,
yeah, actually, I want that.
you,
No.
Yeah, I want them to say, this is what you need to do. And
general expertise.
I don't know.
Yeah, like somebody that's gonna go too straight.
How about emotional support? Is that?
Maybe. Would it be my therapist?
It's in like a
In for a penny.
What are you raising?
Is there anything else you want? Time. That's, what's the word for getting back to me fast?
No.
timely feedback.
Oh, that's
Feedback in general.
just timely responses.
Yeah. There's real intrinsic differences between the departments that cultures. One of the things I've learned from graduate colleges is so difficult.
What do people in your department want from their mentors?
A little bit more autonomy. My department has a culture of micromanagement.
Oh, interesting.
So.
Especially when I compare it to other graduate departments, students from modern autonomy and the graduate department.
Yeah.
Many physics professors are in the graduate students face safety.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting. So do we want?
Now I'm going to pull you together at 6:30, so a couple more minutes.
So now, obviously, not obviously, because not everybody does this, but theoretically, you're not going to get all these things from one person. So the idea is that you have multiple people who give you all of these things. The problem is that
you any emotional.
none. But there are certain things we want from all of our mentors, like their time and timely responses.
Right.
In fact, I just want that from everybody, or
I want that from everyone.
the whole planet.
Well, I don't
Email me quickly.
know.
Just keep replying.
Where does that stand then? I think email is sitting out there.
Yeah. Oh, and that's where
Would
it's
you
nice.
put that under average because you want that
So
to
you
go?
said you're every
No, I think the average would be, I get half of these things from my mentors. I think, mentors provide half of what we're looking for.
Or even less.
Okay, I'm going to pull everybody together again. This is a short session we have, and we're covering lots of ideas. So I started off by saying an IDP was a private document, and it primarily is. But one of the things that we find is you can share an IDP with your mentors, right? It's a good discussion point to have. Sometimes if your career is going in a different direction than what your mentor originally had thought or typically has, an IDP is a good way to phrase that conversation. Who would like to describe either what they put for the good of the multi-point mentoring or the characteristics of good mentor-mentee discussions? Who would like to share?
One of the things that came up from our conversation is that she has multi-mentors, and each mentor has their own area of expertise, and they bring it to the discussion and just kind of learn what they know and need to do. So I think that's one.
Right. Very much so. And it's also easier to, I think, recruit mentors if you can say, I would like to talk to you about this, right? If you want to say, please be my mentor, right? Right? It's a little. If you say, look, I'm really struggling with my teaching. Can I work with you to help with that? So, was that how you found your? Yeah. Okay, so multi-point mentoring aligned for different skills, and that's part of this rubric. You can imagine this desired skills, right? If you can find a mentor for each of those desired skills, you're a great set. Great set. What else for multi-point mentoring did come up?
It just came up. There you go.
Well, kind of help explain what, working with a mentor, they can develop their career aspirations and professional development.
So the idea is that, I know my limitations. I'm a physics, professor. I know about academic jobs. If I had a student, and I've had students who want to go into, high-tech electronics. I have to help that student find a mentor who's working in that industry. So somehow the multi-point mentoring good rubric needs to be someone has to have expertise in the career aspiration, and somebody in the multi-point mentoring has to have expertise in each of the desired skills. Yes. If you can do that, and I have to emphasize, as a graduate student and postdoc, the more people that you can have as your mentors instead of just having this single point as your advisor, the better off you are.
Say that you had a colleague who will go coaching to get a mentor or several mentors?
Just ask.
How about if you're a distance student? It's difficult.
Yep. It's difficult. I mean, there are platforms to support virtual mentoring. I mean, what you're doing with Zoom is great. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to have those conversations, but I still think it's
doable.
It's doable.
Okay.
Especially if there's a specific, say, look, I'm interested. I mean, it's you know, we're all subject to flattery. I mean, if a student comes up to me and says, look, I know you're really good at this. I'm struggling. I mean, oh yeah, okay, fine. It's human nature, right? Right? Whereas if the conversation says, would you be my mentor? I'm automatically thinking, oh, this is going to be a lot of time commitments. So it's how you frame it. Okay, what about the characteristics of a good mentor-mentee relationship? Perhaps a group that hasn't chimed in yet on this task.
The conversation needs to be two-sided, and you need to be non-judgmental, non-confrontational, and respectful of one another.
Good. Yep. Agree. Others? Yeah.
We didn't really get that far. We basically just came up with a list of the things we want from our mentors, which is not two-sided. It's in fact extremely one-sided. We did not get into that at all. But and we appreciate that we want a lot of things and you can't get them all from the same person. But we wanted inspiration and I would slash that with encouragement, actionable suggestions. It gets frustrating sometimes when people are just like, that sounds rough. Expertise in a specific subject, emotional support, timely responses, and feedback. Those are things that we would like from our mentors.
Good, I agree. All right, I think our time, I'm going to be respectful of our time since that was the segue. This session is meant to just introduce some of the concepts. There's tools on the Graduate College website under Professional Development IDP. There's a few tools on the sheets that were sent to you. Some of the fancier ones have you list skills and interests, and then they basically do an overlap function, a chi-squared analysis of people who are currently working in that career, what skills and interests they report and what skills and interests you report, and they suggest potential careers. Right? But they also suggest professional organizations that might have a local chapter and hence might be a source for some mentoring in that area if you want to explore different careers. So I'm going to encourage you to spend more time on developing your own IDP. Clearly the box that I just laid out for you is a short, full form, and you can flesh it out in detail. Have in the back of mind that rubric, and then once you've got that, start to think not only the professional development, but also the mentoring that you might need to support you through that pathway. So that's what I prepared. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
And I'm not rushing home, so if you want to ask me questions, dinner will come eventually.
Do you have questions you want to ask?
No.
Correct?
No, we should fill this out though, right? With our advisor.
You can use that with your advisor. You can just do it privately if you want.
Okay.
There are more extensive IDPs that we've linked from our graduate college website. I chose not to use those tonight because, you know, it would take 2-3 hours for everybody to fill it out. Okay. So this was just a shorthand version of it.
Thank you very much. This was a great,
Thank you for
Where are you based?
in Rhode Island.
Okay, very good. Any connection with the University of Rhode Island?
I went there for my undergrad.
We lost our superstar student affairs office, Mary Jo Gonzalez, to the University of Rhode Island.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they recruited her away from us.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Not Rhode Island.
No,
I think you want to go to Rhode Island.
It's a nice ride.
I think it was a significant.
I was just, I mean, Rhode Island is Rhode Island. I